Welcome, 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 everybody. How's everyone doing? Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. Today is Sunday, November 1st, 12 p.m. here in Los Angeles. My name is Jackie Lopez Fawad, aka Miss Funk, and I am the co-founder and co-artistic director of VersaStyle Dance Company. Really quick shout outs to Breeze Lee, who's the co-founder as well. Not just the co-founder, but my best friend, soulmate, my husband. It's been a pleasure creating this work with you. And a quick shout out to Precise, who's the person in the background making this possible. He's been amazing with the flyers and doing all the work for us in the back and admin-wise. And Ernesto Precise, thank you for all your work. So everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome to VersaStyle's conversation, specifically dedicated to the women, the queens. This is called Women in Popping in Dance as a whole. And it's a discussion with four beautiful women that I feel so inspired for. They've inspired me personally in so many ways, believe it or not, of course. They're women that I feel we all represent a generation. And a generation that I hope, keeps moving this momentum of legacy for women in dance in general, period. So I was thinking, what girls do I want to talk to? What girls have really made a change or contributed in deep, deep ways? And right away, when I was talking to Breeze Lee and Precise, I was like, you know what? I really, really, really want to talk to Pandora, Mary Poppins, Lady Beast, and Dey Dey. When I think of girls of my generation, women of my generation who are powerful, dynamic, talented, kind, sweet, the list goes on. Those are the women I thought that I want to get together and chop it up with. So really quick, everybody, let's welcome the one and only Lady Beast, Dey Dey, Pandora, and Mary Poppins.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Look at these girls. I'm super, super excited. I just want to take the moment right now, not just to thank Breeze Lee and Precise, but I want to thank Lady Beast, Dey Dey, Mary Poppins, and Pandora for making the time on this Sunday to join me. We're going to archive this. We're going to save this because this is going to serve for generations and generations after us, right? I want to believe that's why we dance. Yes. Second, I brought us together as a way to just celebrate the womanhood and us and what we do as women in popping, but women in hip hop, women in dance as a whole. And if women are going to talk about it, well, I need women to talk about with women. And that's how I felt. I wanted to make a for us to get together and discuss about our journey and where we've been. So really quick, if you guys give me a moment, I'm going to introduce each and every one of you. I'm going to make it as brief as possible because the list of credits for these girls goes on. They are popular, you guys. I'm lucky I'm in this process with them all together. But I'm going to start with the one and only Lady Beast. Hello.
Hi, you guys. How are you? Thank you for having me. And we're very lucky to have you as well, Miss Funk. Seriously.
Well, I love you, Lady Beast. Lady Beast has been representing in the popping and battle scene. East Coast. That's how I met this girl on the East Coast. I'll never forget. For 14 years, while simultaneously also highlighting women and Black women in particular. Of course, let's give it up to all the Black pioneers, all the Black and Brown who represented this dance. And Lady Beast, thank you so much. She's also been a winner for this event called Ladies of Hip Hop and also Book of Styles. She's also one of the first females to reach the finals in Hip Hop International with Mary Poppins. And the list will go on. She's been repping. And I will never forget when I first met you, Lady Beast, in 2006 at the Unite event. What was it called?
Unity and Respect.
Unity and Respect. And I recall thinking, where are the girls at? And I heard Lady Beast. And I'm like, where's Lady Beast? Where's that? Like a big girl to come out. And I see this petite little Black girl. And I'm like, okay, she's gangster. Everybody, this Lady Beast. Let's get over, Lady.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Looking on my list, I have the beautiful, the one and only Marie Bonnet, known as Mary Poppins. I love her girl. She first discovered street dance in her home country in France. Marie started entering many competitions and has won events like Hip Hop International Las Vegas, B-Boy Summit, Step Your Game Up, Slow Session Norway. The list goes on. I'm not even going to go with the whole list. She is the co-founder of Femme Fatale with Dossie and Lily, and she teaches all around the world and judges as well. Mary Poppins, thank you so much for joining us. I think you, Mary Poppins, back in 2007 at B-Boy Hold Down.
B-Boy Hold Down, yeah. When I when I was a groupie and I was asking everyone's phone number.
She had a little notepad and she's like, "Could I have your number?" I'm like, "Sure."
I remember that. So cute.
I did that to Pandora too that day. I remember.
Was there too. So, Mary Poppins, thank you for joining us. I'll never forget that day. Actually, believe it or not, it was monumental. And that was my first time I met you, and you were the sweetest, kindest young lady I've ever met. At that day, you came with an open heart, and that's what makes you so special. So thank you, Mary Poppins, for joining us. Give it up for Mary. Third on my list, I have the beautiful, one and only Dey Dey. Let's give it up for Dey. Delphine. She's a dancer and choreographer from France. So believe it or not, it's 9 p.m. out there, everybody. She's fine. She's definitely one of the top dancers in the world, especially for popping, traveling the world, the globe, teaching, performing, judging since 2006. Dey Dey made popping history when she became the first female to win the world popping champion after the UK B-Boy championships, as well as the first with Just a Boo in 2010. I think all of us women remember that. I think anybody in the popping community will remember Dey Dey. I remember when I met Dey Dey this time in 2006 for B-Boy Summit.
B-Boy Summit, yeah.
With your sister.
Yes.
I was like, who are those two little girls? Look at those two girls. Who are they? And it was incredible to witness your growth because a few years later, you blew up in an international way, Dey Dey. It was an honor to be able to share this space with you, Dey Dey. Congratulations on your success.
I remember also the first time when I saw you, I was like, whoa, this girl is fire.
I hope I made that impression the first time.
Huh?
I hope I keep making those impressions.
Oh, yeah.
And last but not least, and I save her for last, but I think she's been a major inspiration to all of us. And she's the one and only Pandora. Everybody, dancer, choreographer, actress from Santa Ana, California, who is also Native American Mexican descent. Yes.
Yeah.
Notable titles include winning first place at How the West Was Won amongst some top tier dancers. I mean, I was there, Pandora. So sorry, Pandora. I was totally there. I'll never forget that. And she also won first place for events like Radiotron and Freestyle Session with a group called Foreign Exchange. Pandora for sure is known as, in my opinion, as the Queen of Cuts. I think Pandora and her role in how she's not just inspired women, but dancers all around the world, period. Pandora, thank you so much for joining us. You have been contributing to this culture for over 20 years now. And thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to
Thank you for having me. It's my honor to be here with all of you powerful women. You know, this wouldn't be happening with all of us existing and doing these things. So I'm super honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. These are like quick introductions. You guys need to go look at their own like websites and Instagrams so you can learn more about these ladies if that's what you want, credits. But I'm just going to start right to it because I'm just super excited to just inspire the next generation of young women and men. Bottom line, we inspire everyone at this point, you know, and I thought it'd be important to them to get to know you a bit. So one of my first questions, and I'll keep this very brief, is when did you start popping? Give me the year. How were you introduced to it? How did you start popping? I want to know the story. And maybe if you don't mind, I'll share mine real quick first.
Yeah, that's
I'm from Los Angeles. I was introduced to popping, and I knew it as pop locking. I was pop locking. It's not until later that I really started doing my research and I learned the differences with popping and locking and the legacy and everything it created. And of course, been inspired by people like Tony Basil, you know, Joe Freeman. I could go on. The list and a lollipop punches. Oh my God, the line goes on. But I'm gonna say it, Pandora, you were my first inspiration for battling. When I saw you at Halloween and I saw you battling, I'm like, wait, we could battle? Wait, we could battle? Soon after that, battling. Pandora, you've been a major inspiration in my life. I can't even imagine for everyone else, but I just thought I'd share that story because it's very important to pay homage to the women and people that create the pathway for us, right? But popping, I would say I've been popping now for about, I would say 17 years now. Wow. So it's been a long time. But Pandora, when I saw you battling, it just changed my whole outline of how I wanted to pursue the dance. But really quick, I'll start with Pandora first. Pandora, when did you start popping and how you were introduced to it?
Man, when I always, whenever these conversations come up, I feel like I always explain it different because as time goes on, more gets added, you know, and I have to go further back to remember. And I'm like, dang, how did I start? But you know what? Simply, it began with music. I think since I was younger, I think I was born a really shy girl, you know, since I was like young, always felt kind of socially awkward, but I always loved music. And I actually always did like dancing. I liked ballet when I was 5. My grandparents put me in a class and then I wanted to leave after a month and I started crying. I hated it. And but I loved the Nutcracker show. It was like a ballet, like a live ballet that I'd seen on TV. So I would dance around the house in the tutu. I have pictures of me in this tutu in the background dancing around in front of the pool. And I got older, you know, seeing music videos, Janet Jackson. I think, you know, pop stars have inspired a lot of dancers, period. You know, Michael Jackson, of course, all these people. And music, shoot, I remember being just in 5th grade when I was 10, and there's a style of music called dance electronic, and there's a song called Rhythm is a Dancer. And I remember it used to come on, and whenever it would come on, I'd sit there, I was 10, and I would imagine myself doing flips in my head and like in an auditorium, and people are like, ah! And I've never even really seen like, you know, breaking or anything like that until high school, you know, but it didn't grab me. And then, or I'm sorry, junior high. But when I was in high school, I saw Elsewhere. I went to he was a senior and I was a freshman. So I didn't know what he was doing. I just saw him melt, like literally just like waving, like you guys have seen Elsewhere, you know, and I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And my best friend at the time, his older brother was hanging out with them. And then I was like, oh, like, where do they go? Like, how does he dance like that? And he's like, oh, they go to raves. So I started going to these underground parties and raves, and I was wild, man. Like, we'd go to these parties, like I'd be gone like for every day of the week at these things, and that's where I would see people dancing in circles and stuff like that. But I didn't really try anything until after seeing a few people there. One person I want to mention that was actually the first woman that I had ever seen was my friend Andrea, Praying Mantis. She was actually the first woman I ever saw in a circle, and I just saw her doing like arm waves, you know. And it was later that I found out she had a ballet background, but she had an interesting, like a puppety look, and I thought it looked really trippy. So we became friends, and then I saw this guy in her circle doing like all these different shapes, like with his arms, and he looked like he was in the military or something. Like when he was getting down, he was just like straight and like really like aggressive, you know. And it was in the drum and bass room at a rave, and that grabbed me actually. And I started following him and his friends around these different circles. And then one day when they weren't around, there was another random circle with people in it doing the same thing. And I jumped in and I just started doing it. And I think I probably looked like those people that you see that jump in circles that don't know how to dance. And you're just like, oh my God, I wish, you know, go back. I was in there and I was just like interrupting the whole thing. And then I left, and then they start clapping for me. And I couldn't believe it. And this one guy comes over and he's like, oh, hey, we're into popping. I'm like, into what? And then he's like, yeah, he's like, you know who Mr. Wiggles is? And so I was like, I have no idea who that is. He's like, you should go check it out. Like he's super sick. And so I went to this hip hop store called Workman's, and I told him, hey, give me the best popping VHS you have. And then he gave me Mr. Wiggles 3. So I took it home and he broke it down like in different styles, like popping, tutting, waving. And it was like, it became like the Bible to me. Like I had no idea there was so many different styles connected to that, and they were all their own thing. And I bit the whole video. I'm not afraid to say it. I bit the whole video. I went to a wave. I did one of the signature moves. It was like I was on my leg and sideways, and I did a wave from my arm to my leg. And the guy that I told you before that I was watching, Confusion, the guy that was cutting, he called me out and he's like, Mr. Wiggles, and I got so embarrassed. But it was my gateway, to have a conversation with him. And he came over and he's like, oh yeah, if you want to train with us, we live in the city. And I found out he lived like 10 minutes away from me. So I started training with him, and that became my first crew, funk technicians. And it was me, Pop and Todd, Confusion, and 3 others. And then from there, he started taking me to dance events. Freestyle session was my first big dance event, and that blew my mind. There wasn't a popping competition at that one. It was only the b-boy thing happening, but I saw, that's where I saw Lockers for the first time. That's where I saw Skeeter Rabbit for the first time. It's where I saw, everybody, and it blew my mind. And I was hooked after that. Next was B-Boy Summit, and that's where I entered my first battle. And I had seen the first female. Oh, am I going too long? I was supposed to talk about how I started, right? Anyways, that's how I started. Oh, sorry. I go there when I start talking about it. I'm there, I'm like, so yeah, from basically just going out at night and being a bad kid.
Nice.
Learning music and then meeting new people.
And I love it. I love how you're giving props to your legacy, how you got introduced to it. I mean, every dancer can relate to the Mr. Wiggles VHS. I mean, who didn't have that experience or relate to that? Mr. Wiggles has been influential too, so I totally could relate. But I love how you fast forward and how from freestyle session, and, how the West was won and B-Boy Summit and all these events. So it's a good insight of how it's a complicated story. And I know there's so many layers that go with it, Pandora. But really quick, let me go with Lady Beast, and then Lady Beast, very popular than Dey Dey. But same question. Very specifically, how did you get introduced to popping and why popping?
Oh man. Well, first off, why popping? I think popping chose me. Honestly, I think it's just something that it just follows you around. You don't know why. It's like a healthy stalker. I don't know. It was just something that picks you. But I've been, dancing in my room since I was 8 years old. And I think that was just a way of me of escaping. And also I moved to the States from Montreal when I was 6. So a lot of me and my siblings, thank God for cable, because if it wasn't for BET and MTV at that time, it was a way for me to learn English, so it was multiple lessons at the same time. So it was me learning English and me learning musicality and me learning dance moves all in one by watching music videos. So, and I thought that everybody in school was doing it. So when I found out when I was younger that people weren't dancing in their house, I thought they were weird, because I'm like, how could you not dance in your house all the time? So, but over the years, I always danced in my room and just be going to parties, doing whatever, no training but it wasn't until I was about maybe 22. And I was at home, and I was looking at this one website. It was Fred Astaire Studio 2 years there, because I'm actually 30 minutes south of Boston. I don't know how to get there. There was no MapQuest then, anything Boston. So the boyfriend that I had at the time, I moved in with him, and I was living in the city of Boston. So I kept looking at this one website. It's 3 stops away. So I went to Fred Astaire Studios, and he was teaching hip hop and popping. And I think his Thursday Friday hip hop classes. You know, trying.
You're kind of cutting out, Beast, to me.
Oh,
It's a little,
can you
it's
hear me
going in
now?
and out. It feels the same for everybody else, but it feels like that right now on my end. Go ahead.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it is actually. It was just going in and out for some reason. So I just don't want to miss this information. But you went to Fred Astaire Studios, that's what I heard.
Yes. So I went to Fred Astaire Studios and I met the teacher, and he was teaching. I was just going there. I was just like work, mundane type life. So then he was like, "Oh, you should come to my Thursday popping classes." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." And then I started going to his classes, and I give him a lot of credit because he was teaching me the vocabulary of popping, like what was waving, you know, liking strobing, letting me know like you should watch this footage from the 1950s, you should check out this person, just giving me a lot of information. And I was mimicking like the move, you know, you should. And then he like, the more that I like advanced, I guess, in his class, he said you should meet my teachers, Megatron and Shallow. And I was like, I don't, because I think you should battle some dudes. I'm like, I don't know. So then he just dragged to Slaughterhouse, which is where I would train Megatron and Shallow. Evidently, it was me and 4 other girls that, and then there were there as well. And the first time I was there, I battled because it was like your initiation into train. That I met there with Heat Rock, Jedi Nice, Onion. My very first battle was with that. I just started training and just not really taking it seriously, but then it's familiar to me. I didn't know why, but it just felt familiar. And then my first battle was at Unity and Respect in 2006. So that's pretty much.
I remember that 2006. I love how you were talking about all the Megatron and Shallow, and everybody needs to know who these 2 guys are. Major representatives for the East Coast. Huge guys. I remember watching them personally too. But yeah, I'm so sorry, Baby Beast. There was a lot of in and out. So I hope we get as much as we can. Maybe double check your Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, I pass it on to Mary Poppins now and Dey Dey. Just double check so we don't keep having these log offs, okay? Mary Poppins, really quick. Again, how did you get introduced to popping and why? And I know these stories are important, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are taking some notes because these are the ways in which we all get inspired, I hope. Let's go, Mary.
Yeah, it's like Pandora. Like I always change the story. I feel like there's more information coming our ways. Like, how did I start? I'm gonna try to make it short, but I mean, I've always danced. I've always, since young age, same. I did a bit of jazz, did a bit of ballet, but somehow those dances, it's like as if they couldn't enable me to be really fully myself. And then when I discovered street dance, it was like, an exchange with people and something just more fun, where you could be more yourself, I felt like. So I could connect right away. And so, you start practicing with your friends at school. We used to copy, in France we had VHS and we were watching it opposite, trying to learn some stuff. And then I took a class one time with this guy. His name is Piet. He lives in a city called Troyes in France. And I was all the way in the back. I was super shy girl, like you say hi to me, I turn like red, and I was hella tall and hella skinny, but so shy, so too shy. Anyway, and I go to his class, and it was popping class, and he was like, "You over there, come in the front." And he was like, "Hey, you can really do that. You good. You be good at that." And I was like, "Okay." I was just copying what he was doing. And I don't know, I think that was my first connection. I've seen, before, I always loved the illusion. I was really attracted by the illusion that it created, that it looks like you're watching a movie when you see a popper, and I was always been fascinated, but I always never thought I would be good at it. I was like, that looks too hard to do. And somehow this guy really empowered me because he was like, you have something, you can catch this so crazy fast. And then he was just keeping showing me moves, and I kept repeating, and I had no idea what I was doing. And somehow I started being hooked, you know, and he gave me a VHS, like something so precious. He was like, you need to watch this. And then you take it, the VHS. And that was the movie Breaking. And I watched it, and, you know, the whole scene, Google the shrimp, and then little by little, you get hooked, you know, with the style. And then, yeah, that's how pretty much it happened. I kept dancing, you know, I was, you know, learning a bit of everything. I was doing locking too. But then that's when I moved to America that I think I got I got even more hooked, because I always wanted to move to America because I always felt like it was the source. When I was learning in France, people would tell me like, oh yeah, this, you need to do like Popping Pete. You need to do like Mr. Wiggles. No, you're doing wrong because you don't do like this OG. And I was like, but how about I go there and I just go ask them? I really wanted to do more. And yeah, I feel like I chose. I got hooked with that dance because I love the feeling of making the beat. I love the you know, especially when you're someone that is more shy, like the deepest connection to a sound, you know, and that was just magical. It's just, you know, that pure instinct connection. And then, yeah, and then I moved to America. I've met amazing people. Pandora was, you know, one of my first inspiration. Like back home in France, I would watch YouTube, you know, when YouTube came. I saw her in a park. She was destroying people. And I was like, damn, a girl can dance like that. Okay. I'll meet her one day. One day I'm going to meet her. And just to come back to the, you know, when Pandora, you were saying you were copying like Mr. Wiggles. One time I copied your heart at an audition. Like I was all brand new, right? I was not good at all. But I saw, you know, the move where you kicked your wrist. I did that, and I knew I copied her so much. Now I can't even know. I knew it was wrong.
I love how you talk about VHS. I think there's a lot of young folks here that probably don't even know what that is. Everybody here at some point has bought that VHS. It was a big deal. You know, in the comment section, I'm seeing a lot of comments, you know, throw out those shout outs for the VHSs because if they weren't for that, I don't know where we go. I love how you brought up the copying. I think we did it so innocently too.
Yeah, of course.
We just see something and we want to do it. But yet it's so, in many ways, it's funny how in hip hop culture it's so frowned upon too, right? They like, buy there, we do all that, you know, but there's an innocence to it too when you discover it. But Dey Dey, let's go with you. How did you get, why popping, and how did you start with pop?
Well, all right. So I started dancing in around 1996, something like that. But just like I would call it hip hop, just whatever like that time it is, you know. And because my two big sisters were dancing, so Kathy and my other sisters, and I was like, okay, me too. I want to dance. And with my friends, like we would go in the street and, you know, take our little boombox and then just dance, whatever. We didn't know what we were doing, but just, you know, like feeling the music. And there was a lot of, in my neighborhood, like a lot, like every, I don't know, beginning of summer, end of summer, like a kind of a block party. And I was, you know, people dancing on stage. And I remember I was like a kid and I was like, I want to be on that stage. I want to go dance on this stage. But I didn't know how to dance. I just liked dancing and music, but I didn't know nothing, you know. And so that's how I got into dancing. And then one guy from my neighborhood who was a b-boy, he was teaching classes. So I want to learn. So because I was like, okay, I can do this in the street, like whatever, listening to music, but I want to learn the real thing. And in France, you know, like it's only until recently that people like started to really teach popping classes, locking. Before it was hip hop, and you learn everything.
Yeah.
So that teacher was a b-boy, but he was teaching in the class some locking, some popping, some house dance, some everything. So, but we called it hip hop class. And then this boy, I remember like the first class I took, he was like, you're so good. You should really go to the latest, the highest class level, And I was like, okay. And I was really young. I was like, okay, Mia, you tell me this, then I go, And the first time I saw a girl, she did a wave, like a simple wave, like boom, boom, boom and I couldn't believe. Wow. And like, imagine like in French, like, wow, she has a ball going through her body. Really, I was like, I want to do the same. And then when I was seeing popping, I was like, the explosion, in the body. I was like, I could feel it just by watching it. I could feel like it's something for me, And so at that time, because I did a little bit of everything, a little bit of hip hop, a little house, a little bit of locking. But I think I got really into popping in 2000 when Smiley and his company Force Set, they came to my hometown and taught really intensive workshops, like a whole week, like from morning till evening, and then at the end of the year we would do like a big theater show, So he taught us locking and popping, but really like deep popping. And that company, like that crew, Force Set, were very specialized in animation. Because back in the days in France, like there was really a war between Boogaloo and animation, like Smurf, how we call it in France. So, and I was more in the animation French style, So I remember like same. I think the movie Breaking was the movie that we all started with, and so that style, like of taco and boogaloo shroom, really like strong and hard pop and a lot of body effect, like magic in your eyes. So that's how I got into it, and why? It's just because, like I say, it's just I could feel the explosion that I like, and the control and the magic you could do with your body.
I love that. I love the explanation of why. I think we all could relate. We're all like nodding our heads, right, ladies? I think we could all interrelate in some way, somehow. So thank you, ladies. This alone, the introductions took about 35 minutes already. I'm like, wow. And just so you know, we all could keep going. I get that. It's like so important as to why I need to talk an hour and a half, because I knew we needed more than an hour, right? Since you were all talking about this, and as I'm hearing you ladies, it kind of, in a way, it makes me a little sad too, because a lot of the references that we've all made, some way, somehow, has gone with a male figure, especially with popping, I really feel we're in a generation now, the younger generation is going to say, who inspired you? And now we're at a time where they could say, Mary Poppins, Pandora, Dey Dey, Lady Beast, like Miss Funk, I would say, whoever. And there's so many poppers out there now. I mean, we're just one now, percentage of so many. But now we're in a generation where I truly wholeheartedly believe there's examples of strong women really representing in this dance. But hearing you guys who are more of my generation, the lack of, and I don't know, it just makes me sad in some way, because I know there's stories out there. There's women out there that for sure have paved the way for us to be to where we are right now. So with that said, this is a more complicated question in a sense, but how do you maneuver being a woman in popping culture? How has it like? Do you even realize that you are in a sense in a very male-dominated dance? And particularly with popping and breaking, I think they're very male-dominated. So how did you maneuver? Maybe talk about some highlights or struggles of what it was like to be a woman being raised in this popping dance culture, if that makes sense. And I'm not too sure who wants to go first, and maybe we could piggyback off each other. And if it feels like we're going too long, I might cut us off, because I want to make sure I get all of us a bit. But what is it for you? What are some highlights and struggles that go in being a woman in a popping dominated community by males? If that makes sense. Who wants to go first?
I can start.
So I think,
Well, go Pandora.
okay, so I think for me, I found it very challenging personally at first. Well, my beginnings, began with me just seeing something cool, and I thought it looked cool and it felt good, and I just jumped into it. I didn't really see, oh, that's all these men doing it, And then, after a while, you do though, and especially when you're starting to learn the movement and intention and all this stuff and the energy. And then you're in like these spaces with battles and things like that, and just a lot of that kind of energy. And when I first started, I didn't have anybody personally to talk with about these kind of things or to help me. But I was I'm very grateful to the men that I did dance with were always like, oh, hey, remember, you're a woman. You have something different to bring to the table. Even though these men didn't tell me how to move or how maybe that would be, them putting that in, telling me, helping me be aware of that. I was a lot younger too. When I first started, I think I was about 19. So even for me, being 19, discovering even in my life what being a woman is, I didn't have like I didn't have any sisters or like a mom to really like guide me on what that was. So for me, the community kind of was my extended family. So besides my grandparents, that raised me, and I have a younger sister, a lot younger. So for me, there's a lot of things that were just questions in my head. And when when I started to talk with more old school guys, they would always tell me about Tangerine, which I never saw any footage of, but I feel like I know how she danced and what she was like. And she actually, from a battle point of view, became my first inspiration because of the stories like they would tell me about her. And then when you just hear person after person talk about someone that you don't see, what kind of impact was that? That's huge. And so for me, I was like, wow, I hope I can be as impactful as that. What did she do? Like they would describe to me how she danced and how she trained with Bob and Andre and what she inspired, how she actually inspired Mr. Wiggles to add the scarecrow part to his wiggle walk. And amongst a whole lot, I think a personality that they used, they mentioned that she used a lot of her femininity and her attitude in her movement. And for me, that's what gave me a guiding point, a first starting point. And then I saw Pringles make it to the finals at B-Boy Summit, which was my first battle, which I didn't make past prelims, but I entered just because I was, me and my friend Hollywood, another female popper I befriended at that event. We both were nervous, but we're like, oh, let's do this, So we went and smoked a joint, and then we entered, which is a really bad idea because now I'm paranoid on top of being nervous. So now I'm there and I go and I did terrible. But like for me, I felt, okay, I'm beginning. This is the only moment anyone's going to pay attention and I want to meet people. So I want them to say Pandora over the mic because it's the only moment where people are going to care, about my name. So that happened. And then Pringles made it to the finals against Clown. And I don't know, and Clown from the East Coast point of view was like crazy, like super dope, a lot of character, really big guy, but super, super dope slow motion and funny. Like he had a lot of like character in his dance. And Pringles, I up until this point, I had seen a lot of the type of style of popping that was really hard, not a lot of angles like Boogaloo, but really straight up like LA style popping, hard hits, a lot of attitude. And she had attitude, but like when I seen her, she was smiling, like she was popping super hard. She was animating. She was really good at strobing. That was her specialty. And she would make characters. And when in her final round against Clown, it was one of the most entertaining things I ever seen in my life. And I was like, wow, it opened my mind, like, oh, it made me find a part in myself that made me not, that it just helped me find another part of myself that added more fun and brought out another personality, And I talked with her. She was really nice. And she became not only my first inspiration, but a part of my foundation of who I am from seeing her and like that. Because up until that point, like I said, there's not a lot of females. So a lot of the men would try to, there's only, from my understanding at the time, they had only shown me her on VHS. There was another woman, AK, who was old school, who was around LA that I would see. But, I looked at her as an elder, but she was supposed to be my competition. And they were constantly trying to put me like, oh, you should train to battle her and this and that. you know, and so it helped me work on my strobing and my animation, but I wanted to talk with her and be friends with her, you know, and later we became crew, you know, after I left ABM, which she was with at the time as well. And we had started our own crew of women together at that time. And we became lifelong friends. And after that, I mean, it's just, sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Pandora. What was the name of the crew, the all-women crew, when you created with Pringles?
We began as Venus Flytrap. Now we're just Venus Fly. And that was, we had created that to build not just with street poppers, but other street dancers that were women, because we just didn't know a lot of other poppers that were women that at the time that we could connect with. And they were mostly from the Midwest. I'm from the West Coast. A lot of people think when I joined that crew, I'm from the Midwest, and I'm not. I'm from born, raised West Coast, but I was going to Chicago a lot at that time because my boyfriend was living there, my ex at the time. So I would go out and represent with them out there. But yeah, it was a struggle for a while, but then maybe not so much, because I ended up finding people. And then, you know, I ended up becoming friends with you, Jackie, and then Lady Beast, you know, I met through the street scene, the battle scene, and who's this one, you know? Dey Dey, of course. I mean, how could I not anyone not hear about Dey Dey and all the amazing things? I remember the first time I seen her was actually a videotape with you and your sister, and you were both you both did this thing where you animated looking up, you know, like together in unison, and that I was like, what the heck? They don't even look real. And then I saw you again and again and again, entering so many battles, and for me that was like, whew, that was super dope. Poppins, man, we have so much history together. And I met, you know, her B-Boy Summit, and I remember seeing her in an orange shirt, hitting super hard. From the minute, the beginning I met her, she could always hit hard. And you know, I have so much history with all you, you know, and I feel like at the time, in between meeting you all and hearing about you all, time went by in between all of that. And all of these stories cross, but for my road, I didn't have anything to begin with except for my friend I mentioned, Andrea, at the rave that I seen that also, Dey Dey, I can relate with your wave story. I seen her do a simple arm wave in here, and I was like, whoa, it was crazy. But it inspired me because I thought she looked like a goddess. I was like, man, and everybody was like, whoa, you know, I was like, that's super dope, because you just see that. I think that's when I'm at that moment later, when I started going to events, that's when I started to realize there's not a lot of women here actually. And some guy had came up to me one time at B-Boy Summit, actually. He's like, oh, because I used to wear a lot of tighter jeans and I probably look more like a B-girl, you know, and he's like, oh, hey, aren't you uncomfortable wearing that? And then that was the first time I actually really was more conscious about what I was wearing. And I was like, oh, and then I started to question. I was like, it's not appropriate. You know, am I causing attention? I mean, there's just some things that started to come into mind. And then I started wondering, how should I dress? Oh, everyone's here. Should I wear baggier clothes? Okay, I guess it's more comfortable, because I wear baggy clothes anyway to practice and shoot at home, just lounging around. But so there, you know, as a woman, even how we dress, you know, to how we look, to how and shoot, maybe I don't want to be feminine in my popping all the time. Maybe, I mean, how do I have to be in this box? And I felt like that was one of the biggest challenges for me personally, is to find my way through all of that, to break out of these boxes that people always try to put me in.
So I'm going to stop you right there, Pandora. You gave a lot of.
Sorry, I talk too much, y'all. When I go there, I don't get to talk to anybody about this, especially women.
That's why we're all together. I mean, in many ways, I think we're all listening to you, because I know for sure Dey Dey and Mary Poppins could relate that you're one of the generations that inspired all of us too. So, but really quick, I want to pay homage to Pringles and Andrea and so many other women that have provided the way. I'll never forget Pringles myself. I remember I battled you in Pringles at B-Boy Summit with Breeze Lee.
Yes.
My heart was thumping. I was like, oh God, I'm going against two of the hardest females I know out there, you know? That event was so epic in that way. You two really made so much noise. Even the year prior, you and Pringles killed it. So thank you. But really quick, just to keep piggybacking, I'm not too sure what to go next, but what has that role, you know, actually, let me switch the question up, because I think she covered a lot of the representation of women and dance, and specifically in the popping role, right, in the popping dance community. but maybe you guys could talk about like the highlight or one struggle that was so specific to you as a woman in the popping community, if that makes sense. Like, what's one moment when you look back, you smile, and you're so proud? Or what's one moment that you think that was the time you treated me this way, or this makes me a woman? Dey Dey.
Ah, something. All right, it's actually a combination of that proud moment and then at the same time a fucked up moment. So that's when I won UK B-Boy Championships in 2009. And at that time, it was just impossible, like for international competition, you know, where it was only battle guests, that a woman, first of all, got invited and win the competition. It was just impossible, you know. And I remember I got invited because one of the guys dropped, and then the organizer, he saw me in the crowd and said, "Hey, come on stage." And then that's how I entered for the first time. And I remember, like, at that time, I was going through a lot of shit, and I was like, okay, I want to make something big out of popping, out of myself, out of, you know. And I remember that year, my sister, she couldn't come because she had to go somewhere else. And I told her, watch, I'm going to win. And she was like, yeah, pass the first battle, second battle, and then we'll see, you know. She didn't even believe nobody. No, yeah, really, because it was just at that time impossible, you know. And I was like, watch. I was so like confident because I knew I was practicing like day and night. I remember I even had my wisdom tooth like taken out. I had like, you know, the thing like, and I would practice at home, like I have videos. It's so funny. So yeah, and then so I went to this battle, and when I won, it was first of all unbelievable for myself, but yeah, just I think the whole world was just, it was unbelievable that I received, well, not personally, because at the time social media wasn't that, you know, but on YouTube, the comments, I never seen comments like that disgusting.
Yeah.
Like they would say, yo, stay in the fucking kitchen, you fucking bitch. Yeah. Sorry for the bad word, but I need to hear this. I'm sorry. But
No, that's what
it was so harsh. Like she slept with the judges, like crazy shit, really stuff. And I was at that time 19, so really young.
Wow.
And I remember like reading the comments and crying behind the computer because I was like, I didn't do nothing. You know, I just danced, and the judges decided. I didn't decide to win. I mean, I wanted to win, but at the end of the day, I don't decide if I win or not. The judges do, you know.
Yeah.
List of comments. Of course, some other, yeah, I'm so happy a woman made a history, you know. But on that moment, you don't even look at those. You look at those, the ones that are just, I don't know. For me, it was disrespecting me as a person, as a woman, as a dancer, as an artist. Like every part of my soul, like it felt like disrespected, you know. And I couldn't believe it. I was so sad, but at the same time so angry. That's why I remember. I was talking with Crazy Legs because Crazy Legs he was the host, and he's always the host at the UK B-Boy Championships. And I remember I told him, I was like, I was crying. I was like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, people are it's not even talking shit. It's just like talking disgusting online towards me. And he was like, you know what? If you have people that are hating on you, it means you're doing good. And I was like, you know what? True, but you know, I was so it touched me so much that I wanted to show. I was like, okay, I want to show all these people that if I won this battle, it wasn't because I'm a girl or because I was cute or because whatever you think. That I was okay. I'm going to win the next big battle, and that was just 3 months after. And at first I was supposed to do it with Sally Sly, and then he dropped. And then a week before Just Debout, with Nelson, we decided to do it together. And then I was sure, I was like, I'm going to win with whoever I am. Because I was so angry at the reaction of people. And for me, it was just a revenge on that.
Dey Dey, that's hella deep. I mean, thank you. Some people are saying in the comments, thank you for being unfiltered. And it's true. I think people need to feel your passion and anger regarding that. And I just want to make space to say, and I'm sure all the girls are here with us, I'm sending healing energy your way, girl, because it's not okay, you know, and at the end of the day, most of the people that leave comments are the ones that aren't quite successful themselves. And they're the ones not entering the battles, you know. But Dey Dey, you've been an inspiration worldwide now, right? Now you could see it. But when you were 19, you were this innocent little girl that just wanted to dance.
Yeah, exactly.
We just need to be able to check each other on these conversations. It's not okay to be disrespectful, period, to any human being. And I know we're very, very touched by your story. Really quick, Mary Poppins. I saw you nodding your head, like you're just like, yes, like you're.
No, it's because this is really, it's so strong what Dey Dey was talking about, because it's linked to 2020, where, you know, social media is huge now, right? And people just think that, you know, they have no courage, but they are just behind their phone and just, you know, talking shit. But what is difficult is, like, as a woman, somehow they're always going to bring other elements of outside of just the dancer, but just the, you know, how we dress, how, you know, if we are feminine enough, if we're not feminine, if we are not good enough, you know, it goes hard on the women. So as a solution, what I would encourage is that,
give us solutions, Mary.
I mean, just because that's what we're here for too, you know, is to talk about our past and to encourage the future. You know, we're dealing with that, right? And if, for example, we all go to Dey Dey's page and comment back, yes, we're going to be heard, but we also need the guys from that scene to be here and comment back and be here with us to, like, support too. And, you know, if you are a guy out here, like, listening to that, like, if you see a comment like this on, I don't know, on someone, on a girl's page, and something that is very offensive, then write back something, Bill. You know what? No, I think she killed it. And you know what? It doesn't matter. And that, like, you know, because for us, I think it shows also support, and I can create an evolution to that. Because especially the younger girls now who are starting dancing, I feel like I can relate to Dey Dey, because this is really how I started too. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I just go hard and who cares? And it's been that I had a lot of confusion at a certain point, to where I had, and first of all, I want to thank all the guys who empowered me in my life. I want to thank them, because I had, you know, I'm sure you ladies too had, like, amazing guys around you, from my dad to Tabo, Slim Boogie, Derek, Quality, like, so many guys who, like, really empowered me. So this always made me feel good. But I had, for example, Mr. Wiggles, or people from Style Elements telling me, like, no, Marie, go hard. Who cares? It's a battle. You have to go hard. So you're like, okay, because they are your role models, right? At that moment, you're young. So you're like, okay, I get your information, and I'm going to be, like, that good student, and I'm going to make you proud. And then once you start, like, trying to, you know, you still find yourself, like, not the arrogance, but you try to find that fine line between confident and arrogance, and you're still understanding all that. But, you know, it's a battle, right? And I don't think guys think about all this. And suddenly I had comments. I had even people calling me, like, hey, Marie, I think now you're doing a little bit too much. I had that. I had, like, some guys calling me, like, be like, you know, but right now it's like, it's too much. Like, kind of like, come on. And I got confused, because I was like, on one end, I had, like, I remember guys from Style Element be like, who cares? Just go hard. And then other people telling me that. So I was confused on my place, you know, and this, you know, relate to, like, Dey Dey, because she's like, you know, going hard and inspiring, but then you have other people dissing, you know, and I feel like as a solution, we need to talk about it, you know, our elders, and also for the younger girls starting now, that they have to also reach out to us, because now they have female role models that have their history too, so we can share. So hit us up, message Dey Dey, message Jackie, message Pandora, message Lady Beast, message me, and be like, hey, I'm going through that situation. To deal with it, or even with guys too, because it's on everybody. I think it's beyond the dance. I think it's a society thing, to where the girl's going to be judged on beyond just the dance, and it can be only one, and it's all over, but
No, thank you, Mary Poppins. I love how you're thinking. Even I agree. I think this is beyond the dance. This is something that is why there's been some very deep conversations in our communities. This particular, even with the women. Let's not even talk about politics, right? Like, this is huge in the role of women, how society portrays us and wants us to act and be. But Lady Beast, what's one highlight or advice or something revolving the same conversation? Because I know you've been in the game for a long time as well. You started super young. What has the experience been for you, Lady Beast?
It's been different textures. If my internet goes in and out, it's starting to rain here, Chief. So, but I've learned that, as women, especially as a Black woman, you're either too much or not enough. Like, or you're not doing enough of that. For me, it wasn't for a while. There weren't a lot of women because I was such in like tunnel vision mode, because I was just trying to tap into my artistic side just as a person, I'm shedding the old me and I'm trying to find a new person, because I feel like your name is your nature. A Lady Beast name, it's like, okay, well, be weak, and as far as guys, there was a sense of protection that was there. Like, they were pretty okay. But sometimes from a certain teacher, he would say things about my size. You need to eat, or you look anorexic, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people, just because you're thin, it doesn't mean like the grass is greener. It's like, it's just as I've always been like a type of tomboy. I have 3 brothers, 1 sister. So I always had like this tomboyishness about me. And I always carried myself like, I don't know, always had like this look on my face, like, don't bother me or whatever. So I never disrespect, but it was like, so, but as far as highlights, I think a highlight for me is just constantly showing up as who I am. Women out here and so there's females in New York, but they do other styles. But as far as specifically like another Black woman in popping, it wasn't there. I didn't see anybody there.
You're cutting off right now again.
Notice. Oh.
I'm so sorry, Lady B. Something's happening. The last thing I caught is that one of your highlights is showing up as you are. That's what I caught towards the end. Maybe you want to continue from there. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, just constantly showing up as I am, and it wasn't for a while that anybody else that looks like me doing the exact same thing. So I really didn't have anybody to run to talk about like the emotional aspect that you go through as a dancer, as a woman, as like effect. But new ladies started going to the West Coast, Midwest, and just seeing more of females that would inspire me. Like I'm so for you ladies, seriously, because it's been a lonely journey. It gets lonely sometimes, so just to reconnect with you guys is really, really made sense. I know it was a little glitchy.
No, it's okay, Lady Bees. I mean, everything you said was hella real. I think one thing that got to me when you were speaking, but I saw the rest of the girls nodding, is when we talk about even showing up as to what we need to wear, how we want to look. or even being told certain things because of our, whether we're skinny or too thick. Because my experience, maybe Deep Beast, was opposite of you. I was always too big. Girl, you need to lose weight. You need to do this. If you do this, you could do that. Constantly. And that's something that as women, as already society is so tough, we're trying to navigate our hair, our makeup, the way we look, right? And there's so many layers of complexity, but I also think that's what makes us so beautiful. I mean, all of you guys, I have seen you. You guys are gorgeous couples, by the way, all of you, like all of us, you know? And it's amazing to see that you're able to be this beautiful queen, but at the same time deliver your story and your narrative and be strong when needed and be feminine when needed, right? Those are deep conversations. I think we all could relate as to what to wear is even judged on, right? How we dance is even judged on. Mary Poppins, that people took the time to call you to tell you to tone it down. Who are these people to tell us how to act and be? At the end of the day, we have to celebrate who we are as women. And you guys, each and every one of you is paving the way for that. And I'm so grateful. Thank you. Because even me, I'm older than you guys. I check you guys out. I'm like, these guys are beautiful. And they're queens. They're killing it. I'm always rooting for you guys. Dey Dey, I noticed you had your hand up real quick.
Yeah. No, I just want to say something about, femininity, because it's something that, like we've been, I think, all struggling with that word. Yeah. How to be feminine. What is femininity? And if I can say something for younger generations, at least for my own understanding, is that, first of all, if you are a woman, you are a woman, you are feminine. There is nothing, you can't take that out. You know what I mean? And personally, when I was young, I used to look up like the woman. I would be like, these women are dope. I was watching like R&B singers or rap, like TLC, Aaliyah. And when I was looking at them, I'm sorry, but they weren't wearing, like sex. I'm talking 90s. They were wearing baggy clothes, and for me, they were fresh, they were feminine. And that was my inspiration. So at the beginning, I didn't think that wearing baggy clothes was like, oh, I'm being a man. No, I'm being myself as a girl, but just stylish, And it's only later that, people, society, whatever, they tell you that woman needs to wear tighter clothes or showing your body or these kind of things. And it's not. I just want to tell like that to the girls, whoever is watching, it's not being feminine, is being comfortable with who you are and how you want to dress. If you want to wear baggy clothes, you want to wear tight clothes, you want to wear, colorful, black, whatever, just be comfortable. And that's how you're going to be feminine and beautiful and sexy,
Mary Poppins, I see your hand.
I will just add like something very short, just about, because we were talking about the clothes and femininity, and I think we all here us went through this thing, like, you want to do a battle, you feel more comfortable with baggy clothes, but then people telling you to be more feminine, but then it's too much, this whole back and forth. So I was thinking it's also, it starts with us too, between women, to try to not judge each other and empower each other. Like, let's say if I want to enter a popping battle, like just the boo in bikini, and then you guys like, okay, well, live your life, And I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I'm going extreme. But in the sense that it starts between us already too, to be like, okay, you want to wear that? You feel comfortable with that? Yeah, you look beautiful. You look, like. So it's like it gets less judgmental on that, and I think little by little, people, even men or dancers, they would be like, all right, she feels comfortable with that. Well, that's fine, and nothing has to be a norm. I don't think there is. I mean, there is also, culture within the clothes for popping, which I understand, and there is also that you want to, give a shout out to LA or however, but also like make it a normality that I can just wear whatever I want and be comfortable with it. And then little by little, I think people are going to get used to it, to not even look at that anymore.
Exactly. Thank you, Mary Poppins, for like closing it in that way. Because this conversation could go for hours. I think at the end of the day, how could it start within, right? Start with each other. and I'm doing that, trying to do that constantly to elevate beautiful ladies as well as your next generation, you know. And because we're talking about dance and popping as a whole and everything, you know, we're also growing, right? There's an evolution even within our careers. So maybe it would be cool to, we only have about 20 minutes left. Tell me what you're doing now, you know, maybe even outside of popping. What's something right now in this time that excites you that you might want to share? Because everybody in the audience, you need to know these girls have been putting in their time for over 15 years. I would say that easily, right? I mean, Pandora, how long has it been for you popping already, or in the dance community? Over 20 years, you said?
Oh, yeah, a little bit over.
For me, it's been 17, 18 years popping. Mary Poppins, how long has it been for you?
Maybe 13.
Yeah. Ladies?
About 14, something like that.
20 years.
You guys, like, these are like, we've put in our dues, you know. But I want to believe that even amongst that, there's an evolution in our artistry. Artists are just artists.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to share quickly, and I keep saying quickly, you know, but maybe share something now that really excites you. Maybe it's outside of dancing, maybe not. I don't know. Whatever it is you want to share, but I think it's important to share those stories so the students or the people checking in know that it's not just one thing. I think we're faceted in different ways, and that's what makes women so special. I think also women have a capability, a capacity to multitask and do a lot of things, you know. And I just would love to make the space to share that. Dey Dey, let's start. We'll go to Lady B's, Pandora, Mary Poppins. Let's go, Dey Dey. Share something.
So a few things I'm doing right now. But lately I did Planet Popping, you know, with Jane. And it's one event that we started in 2018. Yeah, we had Lady B's in. And so it's an event that we started like, first of all, like we wanted to create something for popping in general, because we realized that most of events nowadays are just mixed events, you know, with popping and locking and house, and you know. And my husband is a b-boy, so when I was watching the b-boy scene and how far it's going, like now it's in the Olympic Games, you know, and I'm like, why is b-boying going so, you know, like is so far, you know, like culturally, like in the society, it really has a place. And I was comparing with popping, our dance style. I was like, why is it not there? Mm-hmm. You know, why? And I realized it's because there was nobody really in the popping scene that really pushed it, you know, like to the like further away than just doing underground battles, or it was mixed with other styles, like because we thought that popping wouldn't be able to bring enough people in, you know, where I'm like, b-boying by itself can bring stadiums, so why not popping, you know? And then because by seeing this difference, I was like, okay, I want to do something. Like, why popping? We don't get it to that level. And I was like, okay, let's create an event and try to make a platform and to elevate also not always the same people, because that's the thing. Like I get invited to a lot of events, I get to judge, but I realized it's pretty much the same people, all the big heads of the moment, and then that's it. And I'm like, there's so many dope poppers around the world, and why is it always the same people, either that has a lot of followers or this kind of thing? So I was like, I want to create something, first of all, to push popping to like a high status, let's say, and to also elevate people that are in the shadow, you know. And that's why I really, and women in general, of course, like women and people in the shadow, and popping in general. So it was, this is one of my big important projects at the moment. That's awesome. And beside that, also I do acting. Acting is also one of the things I realized. It's really
awesome. I do follow you on Instagram and social media. I'm like, wow, she's doing theater. Yes. Thank you, Dey Dey, for also elevating the popping community in whatever way possible. At this point, whatever we could do to bring awareness to the world, that's what's needed. Because dance in the world is just a dot.
Yeah.
Think of the world, right? So any work that we all do, I think, is really, really important. Maybe Beast, what is something you've been up to lately, or something that you also identify with other than popping, maybe?
Cool. So right now I'm currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video and Hulu. So I've gotten into acting. I've actually been doing that since I was younger. I actually started acting before I started dancing. So that's one of my first loves. And what's really giving me really great therapy, especially at a time like this, is digital art. I've been trying to get into that. So I've been creating almost every day a piece for the past year. So I'll skip some days, but that's something that's just been giving me a lot of therapy. So it's that's the new thing, but acting is also something that I'm like, trying to get better in my craft. And so, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I've seen some, I need to send you my picture. I want you to create something.
I have one.
I'm going to do it. Pandora, tell me, what else are you up to now that inspires you? Another layer of you?
Man, that's another question. There's just so much. I feel like right now I'm at an interesting turning point in my life because I'm 39 and I'll be 40 next year. Woo! And yeah, and I feel like I've almost lived half my life, and I'm looking at the next half of my life and thinking I'm going to do even more than I wanted to before. And I have the knowledge and the experience that I didn't have before to do it. And I feel there's even new things that I discovered I didn't know I liked as being my age, and interests that I wasn't interested in before as much. And I feel that has come with maturity. So I feel at this point, what I've been doing and what I'm still doing right now is with my company, Little Box of Hope, with my fiance, Derek Quality, who's also my crewmate, Style Elements. And we do production from stage to film. And the dream is to have our own theater, to be able to have all types of street dances in it. Because so often being in part of the surf world, I always saw the acrobats being the main thing, and then the dance like a decoration. And I feel it would be so dope to have the opposite, or at least a balance, whatever makes sense for the story and the art. Because for me, in all of this, it's all art. Even as us as women, how we express ourselves, it's beyond gender. It's our expression and on who we are and what we want to bring to the table. It goes beyond that. So when you think about it that way, your mind is open to bring anything to the table. So I think for me, that's one avenue I want to go down. That's the dream that we're working on. And aside from that community, I think for the longest time I've been a part of the dance community. However, me reconnecting with my mother in 2011, actually the guy who hired me for a workshop in Oklahoma drove me to reconnect with her. Yeah, it was crazy. And I remember it was snowing, there's black ice here. It was like an adventure, And I reconnected with her and my family, my native side of my family. So I reconnected with my roots, my cultural roots. And that was a void that was missing in me for a very long time. And so because I'm Native American and also half Mexican, my dad was adopted. So I don't know that side either. So for me, I was always in a weird place because I was never Mexican enough for the Mexicans or Native enough for the natives. And then where I grew up, I grew up in Orange County, which is very, there's a lot of racism involved also with just people of color in general. So I grew up mostly with Chicana, kind of Chola background of being around this type of, Zapp and Roger was constantly being played in lowriders in my city. And who knew that I would end up dancing to all of this later in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny. And then, so now I feel like I'm reconnecting with the actual people from these cultures now and understanding what that is and who I am and my place in that. And so for me, there's a woman that I want to shout out or a young woman at the time who had passed away, Tapu. I want to shout her out because she had mentioned to me at the time, she wrote me a beautiful letter and said that all she ever wants to do is be a bridge for her culture and what she's into. And I thought that was so beautiful. And for me, I want to be a bridge between, if I can, I'm still learning more about, so I'm trying to be careful, because when it comes to cultures, you deal with a lot of things and you don't want to offend certain things. You want to make sure, just with our dance, you want to make sure you know what you're doing. You credit things the right names, know the history. So it's a lot, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities between hip hop, between a street dance, between culture in general, all cultures. You know, there's all things that we have to honor, and there's so many similarities. So right now, my focus is on my place in all of that, and being able to be involved with connecting all these worlds together, and also bringing it into my art, into my performance art. Aside from involving other people, teamwork, you know, working with others. So there's just a lot to say. It's hard for me to sum up in one sentence because it's professional and personal right now for me. And especially 2020 this year was very powerful because I faced more opportunities to be involved with these types of things. And it's taken me to very deep personal places. So we'll see where it goes from here. That's all I'm going to say. I definitely have some plans, but I'm the type of person where I try not to talk too much about it until I'd rather it just appear for you. So
no, and thank you for sharing the solution, Pandora, because it's not that simple. You know, we could Dey Dey and Lady Beats and Mary Poppins, we could all go for hours in these stories, I know. But thank you for sharing that. That's very personal, and it's a constant evolution. And right, talking about culture and all the dynamics behind that, we're living in those times right now more than ever, you know, and I know that could be a whole discussion in itself, and maybe I'll do that the next time because there's everything that we could discuss on this. But Mary Poppins, tell us a little bit of what you're up to, or share another piece of you, other than you're a supermodel. So, I said, you're like my supermodel.
Where to start? So the first thing that I'm very, very proud of is the event we created with Yaya Vankova called Highlight the Star, because it came from a discussion, and they were like, let's make it happen, and it was just fun. Just the whole process was amazing because it had a good intention, behind, and it was just something new. And it made me realize that even for the young girls out there is more than just the dance aspect that you can do to contribute to the community. And you can make change by not only doing dance, but also approaching another aspect. You can be an event organizer. You can be a women organizer. You can be a host. You can be, a DJ. Shout out to Ticia, that was a DJ at, Just the Boo. And it's empowering to see that, because then you have a perspective of a woman. How many female popping producers do we have out there? Zero.
Pandora, she produces.
And Pandora does beats. Pandora makes beats. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry, Marie. No, she does. But that's what I'm saying. We need to empower that, and again, it's on the 50-50s women, but men has to give it, keep an eye on that. Be like, hey, is there any female producer out there? I'm sure there is. It's just, that little empowerment, like thinking outside of just maybe the dance. So, that started as a passion project with Yaya, and now we kept working on it. Unfortunately, with COVID, we had to cancel the event, and we all had to go through this. The whole world is going through this. COVID for me was harsh because I feel like nothing ever stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. And then when this hit, I was really lost. I'm just going to be very transparent with this. It really, you see everything canceled, and I lost my mind. I really lost my mind, and I was like, okay, what's next? The first time that I don't feel that, I'm invincible, I can do whatever. First time I'm like, well, there it is. What are you going to do now? And, I'm thankful to have my group, Femme Fatale, because I feel like with these two ladies, with Lily and Darcy, they're unstoppable. It's unstoppable. It's like when we get together, it's like, nothing stops us. COVID, no COVID, we keep going. Virtual classes, we always figure out. And that's empowering. I love how this group has just a highlight for my life. Now we also, we have a group of 20 girls that we train every week since we started January. And we did this every week, and even on Zoom, they kept being on Zoom and training with us every week. So we've been having this program, and it's been amazing. And we would love to create a documentary about our journey, you know, showcasing street dance and the American dream that we came to live here, you know, through the lens of free women from overseas, living in America, seeing the reality of things, the oppression, the different things we saw. And yeah, we want to create that, you know, a documentary on that. And then me, on my personal life, I love voguing now, but now I get injured, so it's not good. But I've been having a passion for voguing, because voguing is no joke. It's like the hardest b-boy battle with nice clothes. They intense, and it's like it has the fashion aspect that I don't see with popping. You know, that's why I've been loving it so much. And it's still a street style, and it has its history, and I want to being able to study it and honor it. So I've been being very passionate about it. So thank you to all the voguers out there who've been teaching me. I feel like when you start learning something new, at first you kind of suck, but you still do it anyway, and you have fun. And popping, I love that, and voguing brought me this back. Other than that, personally, I'll be honest, I haven't found that other thing yet. I want to be transparent, because, COVID has been really that, hey, what are you going to do now? How you play piano now? Do you play guitar? As if you have to learn something. But I'm going to be honest. I don't know what other art I don't know if I like digital art. I don't know if I want to make music. I don't know if I want to learn how to sew. I don't know. Nothing has touched my soul as much as dance. So it's going to be a process, and that's fine.
It's okay to honor that process. Thank you for being Karen Marie Poppins, because there's no way we could say we figured it out, Look, ladies, I only have about 5 minutes left with us. Time went by quickly, But thank you for sharing your stories as to where you're at. As you guys all know, the work continues. I love this dance. I will always love hip hop. I will always love popping. I will always love house dance and street dance, period. But I also like to inspire the youth or the next generation of all the other possibilities. And you're right, Mary Poppins, there's many things we could do other than just dance. I've been very blessed to produce many events, produce our own dance theater shows, travel the world. Administratively, I do a lot of grants, a lot of writing. I only bring this up because I would be lying if I say I only do one thing. There's so many things that and then relate to the work for us to continue, So I just want to throw that out, because that's just a little layer in me that I like to share for folks, because not one thing defines me, all of it defines me, right? And another thing I want to almost it's like my own pat in the back. Back in the days when I'm hearing you guys story about the battles or the events and all that, when I was heavily battling, I was heavily traveling, my son was only 6 years old. I was a single mom at the time. And I think that layer of women, I was not just a woman, a full figure woman, I was a mom. I was at B-Boy Summit when I met you. My son was 6 years old. He was Mary Poppins, when I met you, my son was 7 years old. He was a kid. And to maneuver all that, and I wanted to share that last story, because I just want to inspire all the young women out there that I'm not saying go have babies, okay? You have babies already. But if you set your mind to it, anything's possible, and your village will show up. And I hear all the villages and all the beautiful women and friends you all created, and homage to all of them. From Pringles, like you brought up, to Andrea, Mary Poppins, you were talking about Femme Fatale. I love Lily and Dossie. Those girls are beasts now, we could go on with the names, your companions, your boyfriends, your husbands, whatever you want to call at this point. So thank you to everyone. But I'm gonna, since we have this needs to be a quick sentence, words of inspiration for the next generation. One thing that you think you just want to lay, your last word that you would like to live for the next generation, and we'll end it like this. I'm gonna start with Lady Beast. Last inspiration.
The words you speak becomes the house you live in.
Ooh, boom.
Wow.
Say that again. Say that again.
The words you speak becomes the house you live in.
Beautiful. Dey Dey.
Yeah, I want to say to all, surround yourself with people who you can trust, and be fully yourself, and somebody that can empower you. So shout out to Zamunda crew because they did that for me. Yes, and just be confident of who you are, and don't listen to what other people might say or might think or whatever. Trust the process and trust yourself.
Trust the process. Everybody hear that? Take notes from these. Okay.
I'm taking notes. For real, I'm taking notes.
Yes, I agree, Dey Dey. Trust the process. We only get more present, right?
Yeah.
Right? Poppins.
To link to that, just surround yourself with like people who will empower you, who will be here no matter what you decide to do, even if you decide to do something else in your life that would still, support you. Don't let anyone validate you. Yourself, you can validate what you do yourself, and like, be proud of what you do. Be proud of what you do too, even if it's like a small step, little thing that you learn. Just honor it, and just trust the process, and shine bright. Just know that you're gonna inspire no matter what you're gonna inspire. And
Thank you. No, I get it. I mean, we could go paragraphs, I know, but true. Trust the process, inspire, and shine. Mary Poppins is always shining. Anytime she comes into the room shines.
Whoa, thank you.
And Pandora.
I would say never forget who you are and where you come from. Always remember that, because people will try to tell you who you are. People will tell you how they see you. It matters how you see yourself. It matters how people who love you see you. And never forget all the love people that supported you put into you. If you ever feel like you want to quit, remember that. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for them. Do it for where you come from, who you are, the people that love you, and the people you love. And that love will spread.
That could make me cry. It's funny. I think we all could relate. We're like these tough girls, but I know we're all really emotional beings, and that's what makes us. I'm sending you all virtual hugs. I think I want to do one last little quote. Everybody that knows me knows what I'm going to say. Live true, dance free. That was by the most inspiring, beautiful queen, Marjorie. She was a big inspiration in my life and for many women in the world. And she would always say, live true, dance free. I remember I would hear her, I'm like, live true. What the heck does she mean? Like, dance free. Like, it was so short, but so deep. And it's something that still to this day I'm investigating. What is it to live true and really dance free and be free? And I hope that's something that we all can take away. Lady Beast, Dey Dey, Mary Poppins, Pandora, thank you so much for your time. I love all of you very, very much. Everybody, they all have Instagrams. They all have Facebooks. Do y'all got TikTok? Because I don't have TikTok. I'm too old for that.
I haven't, but I haven't touched that. I haven't even started that. I'm scared.
I'm scared.
There you go. If any of you want information on the ladies, if any of the students want your email addresses and stuff like that, are you okay if I put them via email or social media with you ladies?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. I have so much love and respect for you guys, and I will always be rooting for you guys. I can't wait for the day that we could dance together again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Love you all.
Be safe out there, guys. Mwah.
Love you, everybody. Thanks, Versatile Dance Company. Thank you, Ernie and Breeze Lee, for the platform. And again, I love you, ladies. I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait for us to dance so the world can continue seeing us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace, love, and everybody. So I'm gonna let Ernesto stop this here.
Are we still